Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Diego and today I'm going to be sharing my first year university experience at Imperial doing a Masters. So it's not really my first year, but it is, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to go start speaking about how I found my first year, what I liked, what I disliked, certain things I encountered, and I just hope this proves to be beneficial for you. If you're going to Imperial to do a master's course, maybe this particular master's course or another one, or just in general, things that you could look out for when you actually go to postgrad school. So yes, firstly, what I will say is what I actually enjoyed. Then I'll go to what I didn't enjoy that much, and then talk about what I'm hoping for my last year, which is my final year of the 2-year course that I'm doing. So firstly, what I did like was the quality of teaching. It's well known that Imperial is a really good university, and although teaching and lecturers can vary according to the course and to the department, I would say the lecturers are top quality. So we had really good lecturers. We had lecturers come from the NHS, from the WHO, from LSE. So my MSc is actually in health policy, so it's a health related course, and that's where the NHS, which is obviously the National Health Service, the WHO and LSE speakers are quite relevant to my course, and it was really good to have experts in their field come and speak about basically what we were being taught and how they're actually being applied in the real world. So I would say that the lecturers were good. I've done 4 modules so far, which is basically the completion of my first year. There were some times where maybe there was a bit too much space between lectures, and it sort of seemed like the lecturer ran out of stuff to teach us, and then there was just like a gap they wanted to fill up. But in general, I would say that the lecturers, the teaching was really good. It did satisfy that for this first year. And another thing that I really enjoyed was the quality of the students that were there and just their backgrounds, where they were coming from, like the opportunity to network with so many people and to build relationships. It's important because hopefully your relationships with the people you meet will go further down the line, and it's always good to know people. Most of the people on my course were people who already were working in healthcare as policymakers or managers, or even had their own businesses. For me, I was just recently graduated, so I was sort of I'm like the baby of the group, where I'm sort of combining part-time work with my course, and sometimes you can be a bit like sort of perplexed and a bit lost in everything because they already have real life experience, so sometimes the content is more familiar to them and more relatable. But for me, it was just another opportunity to absorb all of the information like a sponge basically, and I think that was really good. That's a good experience. I think in general, that's how you need to be, circle yourselves around people who know more than you, have more experience than you, who are aware where you're aiming to go, because you'll get good experience, you'll get a sense of direction, support and advice if you need it. So I think that was another good thing that the course offered. Just going back to the quality of the lecturers as well, the content was good. That's something else that I like, because sometimes you can have lectures which are well delivered in terms of the person who's delivering it, their enthusiasm, the way they explain stuff, but when the content isn't good, or sometimes you go back to the lecture, to the slides, and you haven't got that much to really go off when you're on your own, it's not that good. But I can say that the content of the course, like the lectures itself, was really good. Unfortunately, something that I dislike is the fact that they did no lecture recordings. In my in my first university where I did like my first degree, that was standard, and I thought that they would have it on this course, but they don't, and that is a bit annoying because you want to go back. There's so much interesting debate that goes on in class that you want to go back and for me, when I look at slides and I'm combining it with audio with what's sort of being taught, I find that it sort of helps me understand the content more. Maybe I'm just being picky, but I do think that could be something that can be improved. And also, the course puts you in a good position for your future, and I think that's something that really was encouraging for me my first year, because I found that what I was being taught were things that were actually going to be used or are used in the real world, and that's useful because you don't want to be taught stuff which are outdated or aren't really relevant. So that's what I would say. And another thing also would be that, and I think I'm not sure if this is the case with most MSc courses or MAs. I'm not sure if maybe I'm just the lucky one, but basically my course has no exams. So there's no exams at all. It's all just essay writing, which is very good for me. I like exams, but given the fact that the course is a part-time course, spread over 2 years. I think that having no exams is better because you've got part-time work, you've got other things. It can be hard to then also revise consistently for exams. But for me, you know, the essay writing works out really well, and I think that's definitely a perk of this course, something really good that I've enjoyed, which I actually didn't know until I feel like the first few weeks. And another thing now that I remember was that part of the course, so as soon as on the first day we enrolled, when we actually went to like collect all our ID cards and everything, we actually got given an iPad. So I've got a fresh iPad. I'm not sure which like model it is, but it's nice and it's quite big. So it's really good. So I think that's another benefit. And I think overall, I mean, when I came into this MSc, when I was applying, I wanted to learn more about policy making in healthcare. And ultimately, I can say that after this first year, I can see that I've grown, I've learned more. Of course, there's so much more to learn, so much more to learn independently as well, which is a massive part of being on an MSc course. But I can say that I do feel like it hasn't been money down the drain where I've just wasted my time. I think ultimately, when you're doing a course, you have to be satisfied with what you're studying, whatever it is. You know, you have to be satisfied with the course, because at the end of the day you're paying money, and if you're paying money for something you're not really enjoying, then you just really need to like evaluate your options and see what you can do. So now I'll go on to the things that I didn't like so much. And like I said, a big thing for me was that the fact that the lectures weren't recorded, and I think that that's a massive flaw of the course, because I think that going back to lecture recordings is really important, especially when you're writing essays or even for your independent learning, when you're trying to get more of the course. And I think because in my first 3 years of my first course, which is biological sciences, lecture recordings were sort of standard, and I found that it helped a lot. I wouldn't say determine your decision on going to a course based on if they have lecture recordings or not, but you'll find it a bit annoying. Another thing that I didn't like is that although there's people who are very helpful, who are very supportive in terms of your classmates, well, I did find some people who were a bit sort of stuck up, like condescending in the way they'll speak to you, that because they were already there or they've already sort of made it, when they spoke to you, I had that experience when I was like, I think the first few days that I was on the course, someone was basically sort of challenging me on why did I decide to do a course straight after I graduated. That was something that I found that was a bit off-putting, and I did find that there were certain people who would act like that. But I think ultimately for me it was just like, listen, I'm here to do what I need to do, and regardless if you're going to be friendly or not, I'm still going to be here and I'm going to learn anyway. So yeah, I think that's something that you need to look out for as well when you go into a course. You'll always find people like that, even in the workplace, but ultimately you're there for your own reasons and you know what they are, and you don't need to be, if you're on the course, you're good enough and you're smart enough to be on the course, and that's it. From then on, it's your decision what you do with the way you sort of progress on the course. Another thing that I didn't like was the fact that because my courses, they only offer it on a part-time for 2 years, it's spread out in terms, so I'll go to uni for 2 weeks intensively, so from like 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or stuff like that for 2 weeks, and then I don't go back for like 5 months. And sometimes it can be quite hard to sort of continue to engage with the course because you're away so long. And also the fact that because it's a course, basically it's hard to find a job in that field unless you have that qualification. So you'll find yourself, for example, I found myself doing jobs which were not relevant to that. And sometimes when you're sort of in a mindset of doing something completely different, maybe like corporate business, and then you're also going back to uni and then thinking about healthcare, sometimes it can be hard to sort of remain engaged with it and keep in that mindset of what you're studying towards. So that's something that I found that was a bit, just that I didn't really enjoy that part of it. The space was too much of a gap that I found. And another thing as well, I would say, is that if you're a postgrad student studying part-time and you're living off campus, it can be hard to get involved with the whole university vibe and life and stuff like that. And I think for me personally, for this next year, for my final year, I'm going to definitely make an effort to get involved in more societies, and particularly sports, like go back to getting involved in football, boxing, stuff like that, because, you know, although university is very much about learning, it's also about the other things that the university life has to offer. Meeting people, the activities you get up to, collaborating on research projects, or just any other project, anything that interests you. So I would strongly recommend you do that. Like, learning is really important, but also don't forget about the other aspects. And also, if you're someone who loves to get involved with the other aspects, don't forget that you're also there to learn, which sometimes can be quite hard if you like that, basically. So yeah, another thing that I didn't like, so personally my favourite campus is South Kensington, but unfortunately my course is mainly based at St Mary's campus, which is near Paddington, and it's like the campus is really small. I thought I was going to be based at Kensington, but I'm not, and the library facilities aren't that great, and yeah, I mean, it's not that bad, but I would say that the campus in St Mary's isn't all that, and the South Kensington campus is all that. Yeah, I really enjoy it. The library is really good, although it can get really hot in there. For your information, if you're going to go to Imperial and you're going to be at Kensington, the library can get crazy hot, especially like in exam season, or you've got a lot of students there. It's crazy. I think that would be like my experience from this year. I would say mainly it's been positive, and I would encourage you, honestly, if you want to go for a course, an MSc course or MA or master's course, go for it. And if you want to go to Imperial and you're wondering, do I go Imperial, do I go somewhere else, I can say after my first year that even though I've only been there on a part-time basis, I can still see the quality of being at a course like that and being at a uni like that, and I can imagine it probably gets more engaging if you're there full-time. So go for it. And if part-time is something you're thinking of, go for it as well, you know. If it works for you, then go for it. It's really good. And yeah, for my second year, I'm feeling quite positive. I'm quite sure that it's going to be much more challenging because I also have modules. I'll have my last 4 modules, and I also have to combine that dissertation work, but I'm sure it'll go well, and it's just one more step closer to my final goal, which I'll be explaining further in another video. And also I apologize as well, because I know that I've been quite inactive with uploading recently. I'll make a strong effort to continue to upload much more regularly. So yeah, so watch this space and keep it locked. And yeah, I just want to thank you for visiting, thank you for taking your time to watch this video, and I hope you found it insightful and you found maybe stuff you can relate to. And yeah, leave your comments, your likes, share, subscribe. Thank you for your support. Follow me on Instagram at IamDiegoIG, and if you need any advice, any support, any guidance on anything university related, then hit me up. I'm free to chat and to help out. Thank you and bye.